I'm Arthur Naseef, Senior Architect and Consultant with Savoir Technologies and a member of the ActiveMQ PMC. Today, I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite messaging patterns, known as the inbox pattern. When consulting with teams on their messaging, we always ask the question, how important is it not to lose any messages? And we get various answers. In this video, I'm going to cover the "we must never lose messages" response. In use cases where message loss leads to a critical impact to the business, such as lost revenue, it is important to understand that your messaging middleware is not a valid source of truth in spite of its persistence and guarantees. A valid source of truth is important to achieve the highest levels of reliability or no message loss. So, what is a valid source of truth? In order to have a valid source of truth, you need three things. You need accuracy, consistency, and memory. Accuracy is probably the most obvious here. It means that the information that you store and retrieve is correct. For example, if you look up the price for an item and you get back $75, even though the correct price is $100, that would be bad. Consistency can be broken into two parts: consistency across multiple related pieces of information and consistency over time. As an example of multiple related items, consider your company is selling soda and a 12-ounce can is reported to contain 200 calories. At the same time, you're selling a 24-ounce bottle and it's reported to contain 300 calories. That's inconsistent. Note that a valid source of truth solution does not eliminate the possibility of inconsistency because of bad data, but when used correctly, in other words, with atomic operations, it does guarantee consistency of the data within each operation. Memory is perhaps the least obvious to think of, but once you consider it, its importance becomes apparent very quickly. Memory means that we can come back to the source of truth repeatedly over time and retrieve the same information, of course, with accuracy and consistency. Messaging middleware does not satisfy the memory requirement adequately, even when you consider fringe features such as retroactive subscriptions. It also does not provide consistency across multiple related pieces of information. So then, what is the point of messaging middleware persistence? Well, it greatly reduces the number of cases that your application needs to deal with, such as consumers not being available when producers deliver messages. But it does not completely eliminate the possibility of lost information. So that brings us back to the inbox pattern. What is the inbox pattern and how does it help? The inbox pattern pairs the use of messaging middleware with a database in order to eliminate the potential loss for data, while making use of the messaging to drive processing in a timely manner with work sharing across consumers and horizontally scaling of consumer applications. Here's how it works. When a request is received initially by one of our services or applications, the following sequence is used. An update is written to the database, and then a response is returned to the caller indicating we got your request reliably. And then third, a message is delivered to the messaging middleware with a reference to the entry in the database. After this, each processor in the pipeline uses the following sequence. First, it receives the processing message with the database key. And then using an atomic transaction, it looks up that entry in the database and ensures that it's in the expected state. Then it updates the entry to indicate that processing has begun, including updating the state to indicate that request is processing and adding a timestamp. After the transaction is complete, processing is then executed. On completion of processing, another transaction is used to atomically record the results of processing, updating the request state, and recording any source of truth affected by the processing as needed. Finally, a new message is delivered to the messaging middleware as needed to continue work across the remainder of the pipeline. Now that we've looked at how it works, let's address how it helps. The database functions as a source of truth at which databases excel, making sure we never lose the state of that initial request. And the messaging middleware enables fast processing across horizontally scaled workers, enabling high levels of scalability. Additional features of this solution include: 1. The ability to easily add rescanning of the database to identify potentially idle requests and re-inject processing messages for those. 2. The ability to easily detect duplicate attempts to process the same request. And 3. A source of truth that can be used to review and take action on requests when processing issues arise. Also note that due to database persistence, it is feasible to configure your messaging middleware as non-persistent, which enables the highest levels of performance, high throughput and low latency with reduced system resource usage. Bear in mind that the inbox pattern is just one approach with the aim of eliminating all possible loss of requests. There's a cost to obtaining higher levels of reliability and availability. For many use cases, the persistence built into your messaging middleware is more than adequate. And in fact, I will assert that once you have your messaging middleware hardened for your environment, it's not only likely but expected that no message loss will occur except in extreme outages such as a total loss of power. So the benefit-cost balance is an important consideration for your use case. Thank you for your attention. Please share your thoughts below, like and subscribe of course, and if you're looking for help with your messaging or more, please consider to look us up. A few hours of time with our experienced experts can save you countless hours and headaches. Cheers.